first grade. I'm just working on the cover of my memory book. I hope that you have your memory book with you and that you are ready to continue working on it. Last time we looked at the cover and we looked at the first page, which is a bit about me, where you are giving lots of information about yourself. We looked at the second page where you are drawing a map of your classroom. I'm super excited to see some of the maps that you came up with. And we looked at this page, a day in the life of a first grader, where you drew pictures or wrote about what you did from the beginning of the day before school starts all the way to the end of the day when school is over. Today, we're going to go ahead and look at 4 more pages in our memory book. These 2 pages are about your teacher and your class. So let's go ahead and start with the teacher feature. And this says my teacher, and so that says name. So you might write Miss Mile or Mrs. Ruthruff or Miss Cooper there, and then draw a picture of your teacher. And then here are some things that you can write or draw about your teacher. Here's what I like about my teacher. So you might think of one thing that you like about the teacher that you had this year. What I'll remember most. I was thinking about this and I was wondering what some of you might think of, and maybe you would think of a time that you had lunch with your teacher in the classroom, or a time that you and your teacher did some reading or math together, or a time that maybe you helped your teacher clean up the classroom or something like that. So one thing, or maybe even you'll remember a book that your teacher read to the class, or how they do, your teacher does the voices for Snail and Puppy. So let's move on down here. It says what my teacher likes. Ooh, think about things that your teacher likes, what my teacher does not like. And this could be things like, well, if you're in my class, you know that I like it when students are kind. I like it when students work hard and help each other. You also might think about things you know your teacher likes, like coffee or chocolate or flowers or other things that you know your teacher likes. Same thing over here. You know from writing last week that I do not like black licorice. But you also know that none of your teachers like unkind behavior. So you can think about different things that might go there. And this says, these are all the other teachers I have this year. Oh my goodness. First grade, you had so many teachers this year. And I wrote down the names of some of the teachers that you had or might have had. And so this might be a time that you want to pause the video and write down some of these names, but I will read them to you first. You might have had for reading group or a math group, Miss Mile or Mrs. Ruthruff or Miss Cooper or Miss Sarah Joe or Miss Lay. For special classes, you had Miss Hogan, Miss Fink, Mr. Hyde. You may have had done some work with Miss Derrick or Miss Aisha, and there might even be some people that I forgot. So you could pause the video, and in this space, you might want to write some of the names of these teachers that you had this year. All right, let's move on to a page that is all about your class. This says, what a class. As a class, we are great at, what is something that your class became very good at this year? I can think of so many things, from being responsible during independent work time to playing math games to walking respectfully in the hallway. This says 3 words that describe our class perfectly are If you had to think, if you thought about your whole class and you were going to describe your class, how might you describe them? Hardworking, kind, responsible, respectful, lots of things that might describe your class. Fun, funny, happy. Up here, by the numbers, we're going to think about some things about our classes. Number of students. You may have had 14 or 15 students. We had pretty small classes this year. So how many students were in your class this year? Down here, how many have a younger sibling? This is where you're going to have to do some thinking. Who was in your class and how many of them had a younger sibling? That means a brother or sister who is younger than they are. And how many have an older sibling? So again, how many of your classmates had a sibling, a brother or a sister, who is older than they are? And of course, this is a little bit harder to do now that we're not together. But you're going to just think about who's in your class and do your very best to remember who has younger siblings and who has older siblings. Go ahead and pause the video if you want to work on those couple of pages. And then you can come back anytime and we will look at the next 2 pages. All right, first graders, I turned the page and here I am on a page called Moments to Remember. Moments is like times or things that happened, right? Moments in time, moments to remember. First grade was filled with memories. Here are some I won't soon forget. One of my favorite memories of first grade is, and here's a place for you to draw a picture and maybe write something about one of your favorite memories. And I will always remember when. What is something you don't think you will forget about first grade? I'm going to show you some examples of things that I thought you might put in these boxes in just a minute, but let's go over to more moments to remember. One of the funniest moments of the year. Oh my gosh, can you think of a time that you were laughing and it was just so funny? One of my proudest moments of the year. What's a time that you felt proud of yourself for something you did in class, or maybe a way that you helped a friend on the playground? And I couldn't believe it when my class, what might have happened that you just thought, oh, I can't believe it. So I'm going to show you some examples of things that you might want to add on these pages about memories of things that happened in first grade. So I was thinking about field trips. This year we went to the Seattle Aquarium, and we also went to see a performance of Snow White at the Seattle Children's Theater. Those are 2 things that you might have good memories of. I know that every class also earned some special days throughout the year. Your class may have had pajama day, or stuffy day, or movie day, or pizza day, or lunch bunch. Lots of things that your class might have done all together to celebrate working well together. There might have been some math games that you remember that you thought were extra fun, or maybe there was one time you played a math game and it was awesome. I know that many of you really had a wonderful time during independent work time, either in math or reading workshop, being a reader when you got to do independent word work and independent writing and reading. I'm sure, even though I didn't often see you when you were eating your lunch, that Maybe some funny things happened in the lunchroom, but there were also lots of really fun moments that we had together when we ate lunch in the classroom together. Maybe it was lunch bunch just with you or with you and a friend, or one of the times that we had whole class lunch bunch. I'm also wondering if there's a time you remember during choice time that was super funny, or maybe a time that you were really proud of yourself because maybe you built something or drew something or made something that was really amazing. And I also remembered that we had at least one snowy day together on the playground that was really cool. So this is a memory that I have that was really fun. I will always remember when we were playing on the playground on a snowy day and everyone in the class decided to go down a slide, and the whole class was just running around and going down the slide and going back up and coming down the slide. That is something that I will always remember. So, your job, and you can work on this over the next few days. You don't have to fill it all out now. Maybe you will think about it and you will come back and say, oh, I know what I'm going to put there or there. Um, and so you can think about different things that happened over first grade and fill in all of these boxes as you have those memories.